If you're new to the channel, welcome. If you're not new, welcome back. We have been working our way through the Laravel documentation in terms of eloquent relationships. And to do that, we have created this sort of hypothetical game where we are using different aspects of the game in order to demonstrate how these relationships would be used within that type of project. At this point, we have seen how these relationships really do kind of interact with each other, and they are sort of offshoots off of each other. The one that I want to look at today is the one-to-many polymorphic relationship. This type of relationship is actually one of my favorite types. It is super flexible, and for me, it's kind of a cross between the one-to-many and the belongs-to-many sort of concept. Now, it isn't that specifically, but it reminds me of that. In this particular instance, there are parent models and there is a child model that allows you to take something and to connect it, but only using one association, a single association. In this instance, it says, for example, imagine users of your application can comment on posts and videos. Using polymorphic relationships may use a single comment table to contain comments for both posts and videos. Now, if you take a look at some of the older videos on my channel, the very first one that I did was a social network series. And as a part of that series, we had users who had profiles and friends. They could comment on each other's profiles. They could post on each other's profiles. And both of those models had likes attached to them, where there are two different models connected by one likes table. And that's something like what we're going to do today. What I was thinking that we could do is, because we already have messages in here, then that's something that we definitely can leverage with this polymorphic relationship. So I want to have something where we can like someone's message, and then we can also like some sort of achievement. So if you get an achievement in the game, then your friends can just all like it or what have you. However you want to set that up, that's how I want to do it. So that's what I'm going to show you. So here I'm going to create a new title, and I just want to say polymorphic one-to-many. Now, even though we are doing the one-to-many, you're also free to test out the other polymorphic relationships as well. Just because we're doing one specific one doesn't mean that you can't try it in your own time. This particular relationship works for my use case and what I want to do. You just have to decide what's right for you. So here I'm going to start with likes and then it'll be morph to, because that's important for this polymorphic relationship, messages and or achievements. Then we can have messages have likes, and then we can say achievements have likes. Since we already have a messages table, let's create the achievements model in table, and then we can continue on from there. Let's go ahead and start with the achievement model. And we'll also have the migration. We'll let that go ahead and run. And then let's do the same for likes. Let's go ahead and start with the achievement model. Or actually, let's start with the migration. If you come down, it should be this one here, since that one we did first. And what do we need here? Well, we can have a user ID so that we know who it is that's attached to this specific achievement. So we'll do table, foreign ID, user ID, constrained, cascade on delete. And then what else could we do? Well, we can do type. We can also give it a name. I don't know that that'll be super relevant, but here we are. Now we can close this and create our fillable properties. And I'll just go ahead and grab this really quick just to kind of make this a bit quicker. And all we need here is the type and the name. Let's also do the like model and migration just so that we can get that over and done with, and then we'll work on that relationship. Without making this too intricate and putting in a dislike function and a like function, because I've already done that in that social network series that I was telling you about, we can just keep it super simple. So I'm going to do a Boolean field. And I just want to know whether it was liked or not. By default, I want it to be 0. And then we can also have a foreign ID for the user, because we can say that this user did this like. We'll do table foreign ID trained, cascade on delete. I also want to do a likable ID. I want to do a likable ID because the likes are going to be what is distributed to the other model. So for this example, the comment is attached to the videos and the comment is also attached to the posts. For this to work, you need a commentable ID, which will give you whatever the ID will be, and a commentable type, which will give you whatever the model it's associated with. So if you take a look, this is going to show us how to do the morph2. We'll have to use something like this. So for us, it'll be likable, and this will be that morph2 relationship. We're going to return it. Morph many will belong to the post and the video model because that's what they are addressing is, in this example, is the comments. So the comments function will be this morph many, and then it'll focus on what that relationship is, which is commentable. And again, that is coming from the comment model. Let's go ahead and continue on with that likes migration. So in this case, instead of doing a foreign ID like we did with this one, we're not actually grabbing that sort of a relationship. So we can do unsigned big integer. Hopefully at this point, I have put in a snapshot of a little chart that explains the differences in what these types of integers mean. And basically what's happening is that if it is unsigned, then the minimum it will go is to 0. So let's say, for example, the number of bytes it is from 0 to, let's say, 255. If it's unsigned, then that will be the case. If it is signed, then it will go all the way back to, let's say, minus 255 to 0 and then plus 255, and it caps at that. All it's doing is allowing us to have more of a range for the amount of bytes that we can have. If we had it signed, then it would start at minus whatever it was. In the first case, you can see the tiny integer. If it is a signed value, then the amount of bytes, it would be 1 byte. The minimum value would start at minus 128, and then the maximum that it could go would be up to 127. But if it's unsigned, then it could go up to 255. So in this case, what we're saying is that instead of starting at minus 2 to the 63rd power, then we can start at 0 and then have 2 to the 64th power minus 1. That's what the difference is between the big integers, tiny integers, stuff like that. But I thought that this was a much better chart for you to see what's actually happening. And that's what we're doing here. That's what we wanted to do, is start at 0. And this one is going to be the likable ID. We'll leave it at that. And then the next thing that we can do is a string so that we can have the type. And this string will be likable type. That's just the convention when it comes to dealing with these polymorphic relationships. So we can go ahead, close this, and let's open up that like model just so that we can add the fillable real quick. For the fillable, we're going to have that user ID. We're also going to have the liked variable that we have, the likable ID, and the likable type. I'm just going to go ahead and paste this in real quick just to speed us up. This will be, instead of commentable, this will be the likable, and we want the messages or the achievements. So the function will be likable. We will return this morphs to. This like model morphs to, that's just it. It can morph to anything, right? So we'll go ahead and import the class, and we can leave it at that. Something else we also need in here to have is the relationship to the user, and it's this like will belong to the user. So the user that owns the like, we'll go ahead and import this. And then we can also go ahead and remove the foreign key and the other key. And here are our relations up here. This is what we're importing in. So now this like is finished. Let's go ahead to the achievements and work on that one. Here for the achievements, I'll go ahead and paste this in, and now we can morph many. So let's import this. The function is like. This achievement morphs many likes, and then we say likable because that's what this relationship is, and basically it's just calling it in the model. That's all that this is doing. We can also do the relationship to the user. I can grab this one. Go ahead and paste that in. And then if we go up, we can see the relationships that the imports that we have here, the belongs to many, morph many. That's what we just added. As I said, because we're using this as a morph many, this is something that we can also put in the messages because that's what we're also adding likes to. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to paste it here. Go ahead, import it. And so this message morphs many to the likable class with the likes. Read it however you want to read it. That's how it is. And we have the imports up here as well. Now, the one thing that we do need to change is in the user model is to add the achievements because we already have the relationship to the user. So we just need to add the inverse relationship to the achievements here. And I can copy it actually. We can just do as many because that's the relationship that it is. The user has many achievements. And we don't need the foreign or the local keys here. And that's that. Now we can go over to the web route and start figuring out how we're going to do this. So I'm just going to go ahead and copy this one and then we'll change it up accordingly. I think that's all the one. We'll figure it out. Here for the title, I'm going to put polymorphic belongs to any. Now, the first thing that I want to do is I want to put that the messages, we'll start there. We'll start with messages have likes. Let me go ahead and uncomment this. And then we'll have two users. So I'll do user one. Create another one. This one will be user two. And then we'll have message one. And we'll also have message two. This one will be user one messages. Create. This will be the body, and we'll just keep it at fake word. That's fine. Message two will be user one messages. Create, and again with body. Now we can go ahead and copy this so that we can add on those likes. Instead of user one like this, we'll connect it like this. We'll have likes. Likes create, and then for user ID, we'll say that that one is the user. We'll do user one ID because that's the user who's liking this message. And then instead of body, we can say that like now equals, well, we can just change the 0 to the 1 because the 0 is default. So let's do the same thing for message 2. We can get rid of this. This will be likes, create, and let me just grab this. Now, instead of user 1 being the one who likes this, we can now change this to user 2. So we're using our user 1, creating messages, and then two different users, 1 and 2, are liking the messages that these users or that user 1 has created. Let's go ahead, run our migration, just so that we can have the new tables in our database. Because each part of this series has different sort of aspects to it, I do want to freshen up that database real quick. Drop everything, let it run again, and then close this. In order to get this to run, we need to go to the browser and refresh it. Okay, we have nothing here, which is great. We can now comment all of this out. Then down here, we can do, we'll find the first message. Say message find 1. And then we want to look for message likes. So we can do message likes equals message likes. And when we return the view, we can add that to this. We can grab this, and then we can go ahead and display it on the front end. And we can go ahead and get rid of this because we don't need this down here. Okay, let's go to the app.blade, or what is it? Is it the welcome? It's the welcome blade. I am going to copy, where am I going to copy it from? I'll copy it from here. down here. And then for the title, it will be polymorphic one to many. Go ahead and uncomment this for right now. And we can actually look for a few things in here. So instead of users gifts that we have here from our previous project, we can do the message likes to the ID. And then for here, we'll do message likes as like. This we don't need the type here because we're just doing the ID for that. And then I'm going to copy this one and we can use it to replace this one. So what else do we have in that relationship? We have the likable type, so we can do that here. And again, message likes is like, and instead of ID, we'll put type. And then what we can also do is get the count of the likes for that message. I'll add the count label here. And then instead of type, I can do count. Now, these are functions. Some of these have these little functions that I put in here. They can also be put when you're using controllers. They can be filtered through in the controllers also, instead of putting them out through the blade like this. However you want to do it, whatever works best for you, which takes the least cost on your project, just go ahead and try it. So let's go refresh and see what we get now. We did not get the likes type. I might have added the wrong thing here, because these are not just types, they are the likable type. That's what's in the likes table, the likable type. Let's try it again. We have been looking at the messages, and as you can see, we have the like ID, we have the app model's message, and we also have the likes count right in here. Let's go and also take a look at the database really quick. Now, I will try to make these a bit bigger when I'm editing. As of now, it's a bit tiny for me, but I'll open up the users. You can see we have 2 users in here now. Messages, we have 2 messages, and we have the user ID of 1 for each of those messages. We have the achievements, which we haven't actually touched yet. I don't know why I opened that. But then we also have likes. And as you can see, the liked is a true value. The user IDs of the users who like them are 1 and 2. The likable ID is 1 and 2 because they are the first and the second. And then we also have the app model's message, which is the model that these particular likes that we just did is associated with. Let's go ahead and now work on getting this achievements filled as well. We can go ahead, close this, and we can actually close out these models just so that we have a bit of breathing room in here. And what we can do is basically the same thing that we did for the messages have likes. We can copy it and do the same thing for achievements. Achievements have likes. We can do the same thing with the users. We'll create 2 users. And instead of message 1 and message 2, they will now be achievements. These are 1 achievements instead of messages. Create. These have a type. There's type and there's name. We can do the same thing with the likes. This one. These will be achievements. So it'll be achievement 1 likes, achievement 2 likes, and we can get rid of these. Well, not get rid of them, but get rid of the S's in them. So it's achievement 1, achievement 2, and yeah, that's fine. So we have the likes, we have the likes for achievement 1, we have the likes for achievement 2. User ID is the exact same, as well as the liked field being inserted with 1. We can keep message find 1, but we'll do also achievement. And actually, before I do that, I want to comment this out just so that we don't get a nasty error. Let's go refresh so that that gets put into the database. We don't seem to have an error. We'll find out in a bit. Great. Now we can go ahead, comment this one out and continue with this. We'll keep the message, the achievement, message likes we can keep, and we need to do achievement likes. Go ahead and uncomment this. the day where I can spell correctly, right? We don't need this one anymore, but we can copy the one that we just did, which is this one. And we'll do the same thing. We'll just change out instead of message, it'll be achievement. Select all of them. And then instead of message likes here, should have 3. So instead of message likes, we'll do achievement likes. Let's check out the browser and see if we have it now. Very good. So you can see we have the message like ID. That's what we did before, achievement likes ID. Because now we have new likes in here, we have a new ID for this, as well as the new likes count. There are 4 likes in total for this achievement. If we check the database, we can go ahead and refresh this one. And as you can see, we have user ID of 3. The likes now, if we refresh it, same thing. We have liked, everything was turned to true. And then we have 4 different users. We have 2 sets of message likes. We have 2 sets of achievement likes. And we didn't create any of these, so that should be good. That should be good because we created 2 other users. Now, I highly suggest going and taking a look at all of these relationships. Try to come up with your own different sorts of concepts to test each and every one if you want. As I said, they are sort of offshoots off of each other. But something that I also want to show you is that you can query the relations and you can also aggregate related models, eager loading, all that good stuff. If we go down to querying relations, it shows you how to look for those users, how to look for those relationships within the different Eloquent relationships. We didn't use that stuff. We didn't use most of it because we were able to do everything through the web route and nothing was really too specific. It's just sort of to give you a broad scope of what these relationships do look like. But I do suggest that you go and you take a look at this documentation because there is a lot of things to do in here. For example, something like this. That's how we did it in the web.php. And it shows you the difference between dynamic properties versus relationship models. And for example, like this one is showing you a dynamic property where it's turned user posts into a property instead of user posts with the parentheses right here. And that's something that you can do too. Instead of just loading it all at once, you can do it like this. That would just load when you need it. It's sort of lazy loading. And there's other different things in here. I just wanted to show you really quick in case you're too lazy to go and look, just to kind of get an idea of different things that you could do. There's also different things where you can do like search. In these types of relationships, you can do things like that, where you can query certain things within the model and then do a search for whatever it is. The relationships I showed you are the ones that I typically use, with the exception of the has many through or has one through. I can't remember which one we did, but that one I don't really use that often. I haven't run into having to use it, but it is something I was interested to take a look at, learn, and show you how to do it. There's also something to query the more to relationships, which is one of the relationships that we did today. And you can also query different things like that. Same thing with search. You can do something like that as well. But the point I'm trying to make is that take a look at the documentation. I've already given you more of a real world situation to kind of use these relationships, but practice, 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 and that will force you to become successful in dealing with these relationships. If you're enjoying the content, please go ahead and click that like button as it really does help out the channel. Here's a video YouTube thinks you'll like, and here's a playlist to follow along. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.